What's going on, y'all? My name is Nate Hunt, and I wanted to um, show you guys around my digital portfolio, my Google Classroom that I created for this final project. So first and foremost, I wanted to share my educational philosophy. This is something I wrote um, earlier this semester in a class that I was in, and this is very specifically about writing, but it's about writing, but it also ties in to everything in education. So essentially, what it's about is all I want my students to feel is comfortable. And I know that kind of sounds weird and not like the most pressing matter of teaching, but I was that kid that was never comfortable in my high school classes and my middle school classes and anything I took up until college. Really, it was not something I enjoy. I hated school. That wasn't who I was until I realized why. And that's something I learned in my education classes here at BG. Um, so really what I want to do is I want my students to be as confident in their own work and as comfortable with their own work as they possibly can. And I want to be the kind of teacher that supports them through it all. Um, that's our jobs, really. That's the one takeaway as a teacher. That's the one thing that's most important to me is making sure my students are comfortable and confident with their work. Because I think it goes a long way. It's not just about that one assignment. If you build them up, that's the least you could do is consistently build them up. So after this, I will go back and talk about my my digital skills competency certification. For this, I just use my Google certification form. I can open that up, and it just shows that I passed the Google certification exam. Following this, I have the three topics that you want us to go over. So first and foremost, I have the curriculum-based one, and this is something I made earlier in a HyperDoc. This is about Black History Month, and it relates to my social studies content. So what I have here is I have the students researching Black History Month and then researching big African American influencers in my lifetime and then hopefully their lifetime. Well, first and foremost, you have the big one that isn't in our lifetime, my lifetime at least, or my students, but it's Martin Luther King Jr. It's someone we all know by name, but you can never get to know someone as influential as him too well. So I think that's a big one. Next, I have the late, great Kobe Bryant. Very big influence in not only my life, but I know a ton of athletes' lives. And then last, I have Oprah Winfrey. I have a very powerful. She's a very powerful female voice in our society today, and I figured that she was more than deserving to be thrown up on. Just a couple of examples. Obviously, the students are more than welcome to do their own research, pick out their own person, but I just wanted to give them some kind of a guide. So this just has them going in and researching Black History Month and it essentially just is their research, and then they wrap it up with a big grand discussion, whether it's either a grand discussion in person or it's a discussion board online. And what they're going to do is just respond to each other's, like they're going to be given a prompt, and then what they're going to do is respond to each other's prompts about how they feel about that person, what made them so great, what did they do that took them to that next level. So after this, I have my ISTE standards, which is a lesson that I taught earlier this year in my placement about theme. And it displays a couple of the standards. It talks about leadership and a bunch of creativity kind of things. And then last but not least, I have my 3D print project, which talks about how you could use 3D printing in your classroom. Thank you guys